Hello Scorpio, great to have you here. My name is Shauna. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Scorpio.
When I was shuffling out the spread for you, what I saw was an image in a kitchen. Okay, it's like very 70s, 1980s type of a kitchen. The decor, the wallpaper, and things like that is very reminiscent of like the 80s in particular. And I see this little boy. He looks like he's about maybe like 8 or 9, like under the age of 10. Okay, but he's a kid. He's got dark skin, he has black hair, and he has like an afro to his hair. So he's sitting in the corner on the dining room, or I'm sorry, it's the dining room bench. It's like a square bench. It's against the wall, and he's got his knees to his chest. And what I'm seeing is he might have scraped his knees, so there's like a big old band-aid on his left knee, okay? And he's like picking at the perimeter, like the outside layer of the band-aid where the sticky part is. And he's deliberating whether or not to remove it, okay? Now the band-aid looks a little old, like it's been there for a few days, you know? And he's got like a bunch of thoughts racing through his head, like, what if it hurts if I remove it? What if it peels off the scab and it starts bleeding again? What if it's infected? What ifs and what ifs? And so instead of just removing it, he's kind of like just picking at it, working up the courage to, I feel like he's trying to remove as much of that sticky part as he can. And he's a little bit scared. So it looks like it might have been a deep wound, and it looks like it's a big band-aid. So I feel like, it might have been serious. And especially for this boy, he's small and he's young, so it looks like a significant wound. And I'm hearing the voices of the adults that are circulating around this kitchen area, and they're kind of like telling him, just remove it. It'll be fine. Just remove it and wash it. And they tell him, like, if you don't want to do it, I can do it for you. And he just adamantly says, no, 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 don't touch me. I want to do it. And then he's biding his time. He's trying to, figure out what to do. And so the scene plays like that for quite some time. Like he's still sitting there deliberating. And finally, he works up the courage. And I hear somebody like his mom in the background. She's all like, do it fast. Like just rip off the band-aid. And so he pries open the sticky part on both sides of the band-aid, and then he rips it off. And as soon as it comes off, he looks at it and he's very surprised that, first of all, it's not infected. It didn't pull off any skin, and it's not bleeding. And it looked like it healed. Okay, it looked like he's in good shape. It looks like he's no longer hurting. And so he looks at it, and I see this broad smile spreading across his face. And the scene cuts out. So let's talk about, this scene in general. So I feel like, that little kid is definitely you guys. I feel like you've been mulling over a situation for a very long time. And you're mulling over, thinking it over, and there are a lot of what ifs and a lot of like uncertainty running through your head. What if it turns out this way? What if like I plan this, but then it doesn't get executed, and then things go awry? And I feel like in your head, with all of your thoughts, things are a lot worse than they seem. Either that, or you're focusing a lot more on the negatives, okay? What if it hurts? What if it's infected? What ifs and what ifs? And the bottom line is, we won't know how something is going to pan out unless we kind of like, rip off that band-aid, unless we make a change, or unless we purposefully do something, okay? So that's the first thing. And then I'm also seeing as well this energy where the idea about, making a decision and being very, very deliberate about making this decision. So don't sit with it anymore. Don't just poke at it. Don't just, try to pry it open from the periphery. You kind of need to get in, like dive right in and figure things out and sort things out. So what I'm seeing here is things are not as bad as they seem. And for some reason, for many of you, being the practical sign that you are, you tend to dwell on, what if things don't go awry? Do I need a plan? What if things go awry? What if things don't go the way I plan? What if things don't come to fruition? Do I need a plan B? Do I need a plan C? And so while you're sitting with these thoughts, I feel like nothing, like no real action is taken in the real world, okay, in the physical. And so this is the month where you really have to think about what is that decision that you've been mulling over for a very long time, and yet you're not really acting on it, okay? So for some of you, what I have here, Ace of Wands, this is a project, this is a work situation, okay? And look at this match. It feels like it has dimmed, okay? It feels like there's no spark left. It just feels to me like it has smoked out, or the flames has been doused out, okay? So I feel like in this situation, you're no longer passionate about the work. You're no longer feeling emotionally fulfilled with the work that you are doing. And I feel that you are going through the motions. You are going through like doing things that are expected of you. And especially, there's a little, this is a pangolin, I believe. And there's a little baby one right here. So this is kind of like obligation, okay? Doing things to pay the bills. Doing things out of that sense of personal responsibility. Doing things so that, because our family depends on us. Because our children depends on us. Because that it's stable and it's pragmatic. Because it's the safer choice, okay? Status quo. This is very, very status quo oriented. And so I feel like for many of you, you're in a job and you have been feeling that this situation has been lackluster for a very long time. And you have been thinking heavily about, a transition, the death card underneath. And I keep seeing this bird here, and what it denotes is like there has been messages, there has been signs, poster boards just plaster all along the corridors of your life telling you, change is coming, change is imminent, change is required, change is needed. You're no longer feeling emotionally invested in this. It is time for you to do something else. It is time for you to venture off into the new. It is time for you, especially, to close out the cycle. The world is about, things coming to an end, okay? Wrapping things up, jumping into a new phase in your life. But in this context, it's almost like the world is yours for the taking. There will be so many other opportunities out there. It's almost like there's plenty of fish in the sea. There are plenty of other jobs that you could be doing. There are plenty of projects that are out there. There are endless and limitless possibilities out there. If you can leave this behind and invest your energy into looking forward and moving on with new opportunities, okay? So the way that this reading is coming out to me, it feels to me like it's split like this. This is where you were, or where some of you might be, because, Scorpios, you have a tendency to cling on to the past, okay? This is, for some of you, you're already here. For others, you're still here. And this is where the universe wants you to end up. And this is ultimately where you want to see yourself within, the next 5 years, okay? Or even like making a major transition even this month or even this year, so that you can end up in this really amazing, happy place at the end of the year, or by the end of the year. And we have here 5 of Cups, okay? This is regret, sadness, fish out of water, okay? This is a situation that feels to me to be very, very, very incomplete, uninspiring, devoid of emotions. Okay, so this is a creature that is half fish, half human. And it's basically a mermaid, but it's not like the stereotypical depiction of a mermaid. And in this environment, it just seems to me like there's no water. Okay, it's like a drought. And it feels like this creature doesn't feel like they fit in anywhere. Do I belong on land and walk like a human, or do I belong in the sea? Where do I thrive? How do I find others that are like me? How do I put my skills to good use? How can I get myself out of this situation that is no longer bringing me emotional happiness? How do I, try to move on with my life? And I feel for many of you, this is work oriented. For many of you as well, this could be a situation where you are living, who you are associating and aligning yourself with. And I feel like this, this oddball, like not feeling like you fit in, not feeling like you have found your niche, not feeling like you have found your path, and feeling almost like I'm settling for this because it pays the bills. It takes care of the kids. It brings home enough money where I can, put the kids through school and save up for a house and things like that. It's a very practical minded decision that's or even like the lure for you to stay here is very practical. It's very pragmatic. But I feel that in your hearts of hearts is really not emotionally fulfilling for you, and you have been made aware of this for quite some time. Okay, you might have been wallowing in this for like the past year, the past 12 months, and thinking that there needs to be something more. And what's really interesting in this cluster of cards is I keep seeing this communication coming from the bird. Okay, this is like your spirit guides. Okay, that nudging, that kind of like itch in the back of your mind that you can't scratch, telling you that Scorpio, you know this is not working. You know that there is more to this. You know that you're meant for more. You know that you're being pushed out of your comfort zone. You're being pushed away from this situation that is snuffed out. The passion is gone. The thrill is gone. The embers, the flame is no longer here. And I'm also seeing like the drive, the ambition, the passion. It's devoid of all of those things, and so you're just clinging on to this wand, and it doesn't have any fire in it left. Okay, so there's definitely nudges, intuitive hits, as well as your own sense of intuition guiding you and giving you messages and telling you that you need to do something else here. Okay, and going back to the image of the little boy. Okay, deliberating, okay, not making a move, very fearful as well, and also in a state where he is mired in like fear. Okay, so we have here the Three of Cups. This is a situation where things are going around and round and round in circle. This is like the spin cycle. Okay, the spin cycle where things come out in the wash, where we are getting rid of all the gunk, all the debris, all the dust, all the things that can kind of like stain, tarnish, or even make a situation dirty. Okay, so what I'm feeling with this card is you can either, dwell in this environment where things are just going around and around in a circle and there isn't anything new, or you can choose to, finish it up, wrap it up, tear off that band-aid. And I feel more than anything with this water energy, Three of Cups, it's your element, which means the executive decision, the swiftness, the deliberateness has to come from you. Okay, no one else can make this change for you, and people can tell you and people can talk to you and try to convince you and persuade you until they're blue in the face, but ultimately you are your own person, and as a fixed sign you are also very incredibly stubborn. And as a result of that, you have to arrive at wanting to make this change and wanting to make this decision on your own. And no one is going to be able to get you to do it unless it's coming from you. Okay, so like the weight of the responsibility, I feel, is really bearing down on you. Okay, we have here the Ten of Pentacles, and the Ten of Pentacles is pretty much the apex of the financial responsibility. Okay, and I'm feeling just the sheer gravity, the sheer weight of it on this card. Okay, for many of you, this is just like all the things that you have to get in order. Okay, get all your ducks in a row, get your financial situation sorted out so that you can implement this change. Okay, and for some of you, selling a car, trying to, move all of your stuff, trying to pack up boxes, trying to figure out what I need to leave behind and what I need to bring with me to the next phase of my life. Selling property, thinking about property, thinking about taking out a huge loan in order to fund some type of like startup project. Even getting like startup capital so that you can start a business. And I'm seeing like the financial weight of it and the ramification is really bearing down on you, and it can feel a little bit heavy. Okay. Going back to what I mentioned for the reading for last month, and I remember this very vividly because the energy feels very similar. I mentioned there's a lot of fear here about having to rely on another person in your February reading, I believe, right? And I mentioned that, Scorpios, you guys rule the 8th house, okay? And the 8th house, once again, like I said, it's that bucket of tar. It's the house of rebirth, sex, death, rebirth, and regeneration. It's about reinventing ourselves, okay? But the 8th house is also about share finances, share resources. And I feel like for many of you, you have dreams to not have to, to like build up a comfortable life for yourself where you can, especially if you have children, if you have people that you love, you want to be able to provide and buy nice things for the people that you love, okay? And so the finances, it is not just about you. It's not just about taking care of you, buying yourself nice things. You think about other people. So with that 8th house ruling joint finances, a lot of it is just, the weight of the responsibility, wanting to be self-sufficient, wanting to carry this financial burden, but at the same time, you just feel like, I don't know how I can possibly do this on my own. I don't know how I can start a business without having to, go to the bank and get a loan. I don't know how I can, start school without dabbing into or dipping into my savings. I don't know how I can, leave this job right now and survive off and retire and survive off, whatever income I've accumulated or dipping into my savings to fund the retirement. So I feel like there are a lot of financial a lot of financial maneuvering or a lot of financial factors that are really affecting this major decision. And so you're kind of going round and round in circles trying to sort things out. And I feel like that little boy, you are a little bit like, I want to say, mired in the unknown, okay? And any time, and any responsible person, when we are faced with a lot of risk, and when we are faced with a lot of uncertainty too, we tend to think about, worst case scenario. Like, what if I'm anticipating this, but then I hadn't really thought about that? And what if the situation goes haywire? What if what I'm leaning on, is not stable? Okay? And what if it's not what if it's not secure? What if it's faulty? What if it will fly off its hinges? What if things change? So there are a lot of what ifs in this scenario that's disallowing you from making a move. Okay, so I feel like for many of you, you're still here contemplating, mulling over all the decisions, and a lot of it I feel is financially motivated, and I feel like finances might be the biggest factor here. Okay, for some of you, I feel like you have some brand new projects that you're trying to start up, and people are bringing these projects to you. Like this messenger here in the bird is bringing you new projects here, and you're working out the details. You're working out the numbers. You're crunching numbers, trying to figure out pricing, trying to figure out estimates, trying to figure out like length of time, trying to plan a lot of things like when is a good time to start, when is a good time to end, when is a good time to wrap it up, realistically how long it's going to take me, do I have the manpower? So you have a lot of logistical things that you're thinking about behind the scenes, and you're organizing and compartmentalizing, and you're trying to work out the details. And I feel like you're just like scraping the tip of the iceberg, and you're scraping the perimeter of this band-aid. And I feel like it seems very overwhelming because you feel like you might not know what's really underneath. Okay. And so what I would suggest here, and you are the one that has to be deliberate about making this decision. It needs to come from you. It should be deliberately done. So take the time that you need unto your own hands, and you're going to grab life by the horns, okay? And you're just going to, whatever it is that has been kind of like hidden from you, or whatever you feel like you don't have full information on or full access to, you're going to rip off that band-aid, and you're going to be the one in the driver's seat again, okay? So a lot of you might be here, and this is where you want to be, okay? And the state where you want, this is traditionally like a happy home, happy family, celebratory, coming together, communion, people gathering, and being in the shelter and the comfort and the stability of a long-term relationship. And then we have here the Two of Cups, which is a very strong soulmate connection. Okay, so I feel like for many of you, you're really trying to design or create your life so that you can fit into the life of another person, or so that you can make the other person fit into your life. Okay, and this is about partnership. Okay, the Two of Cups is a really beautiful card that denotes to me having a really strong sense, like a bond, but a strong sense of like liking somebody, caring about somebody, wanting to grow old with another person. It's a very strong soulmate connection where even if we're mad at the other person, even if like they do the little things, that drives us nuts, like chewing with their mouth open, or giving unsolicited advice, or even if we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, you still really care about this person and they care about you. It's like when you're sick, they're there by your side. And when they're sick, you want to be there by their side. And so this is a really harmonious type of a relationship. And you're trying really hard to work at it. Okay? And you see the value and the merit in this situation. I feel like for some of you too, you might be in one relationship, the passion, the chemistry might have fizzled out. You're staying together for the financial stability here with the the 10 of Pentacles. And you might have somebody else in your environment that is really pulling you, and they have like they have a hold on you, and you're trying to, remove yourself from this situation so that you can start again, okay? And you are well aware that this current relationship might not be serving you, and you're moving on with something else, okay? And this is where you want to be ultimately. For others of you, this is just getting your life together in some capacity so that another person, so that you can like blend your life with another person, or you can make room for the other person, or the other person can make room for you in their life. So I'm seeing a lot of like planning, a lot of unknowns, a lot of factors that might not be readily available. Like all the information is not readily available to you. I don't feel like anybody's hiding the information. I feel like everything is within your hands. You have total control over it. It's just whether or not you are ready to take this plunge. And the decision, has to come from you. You need to be the one to make this decision, because like that little boy said, I want to do it. Okay, and I feel like for many of you, this was like a big yes. Okay, if it's like confirmation that you need, the answer is it's a big yes. Okay, and you have to be the one to initiate that change or to initiate that process. Okay, get the ball rolling from your end. All right. We have as well the Four of Pentacles and the Star. And the Star is wish fulfillment, okay? This is like, for many of you, if you have been like trying, if you have been thinking about a new endeavor, a new project, a new business, a new course of action that you need to take to steer your life away from what was no longer serving you into something that has a lot more, that makes you a lot more happy. This is a big yes card, okay? And the Star is all about your path. It's all about your destiny. It's all about things that you're meant to do because you naturally have the gifts and the talents in order to make this a viable, to build this up so that it's a viable path for your future. The only thing that is standing in your way here is Four of Pentacles, clinging on to the past, okay? And honest to God, Scorpios, you can be a little bit clingy and you can be a little bit, and fixed signs in general, we like to control, okay? We like to predict outcomes. We like to be in control at all times. We don't like the unknowns. We don't like the uncertainty. And I feel like the thing that's really getting in the way here is I'm comfortable here. Okay, there's riches, there's wealth, there's jewelry, there's gold chains. This is a very comfortable, abundant type of an environment. Okay, and I feel like for many of you, it's comfortable here. Okay, it's stable here. And so for you to break away from this, you need like a grand gesture. You need a promise of something extraordinary and something amazing and something huge in order for you to break away. Okay? Like I said, the Ten of Pentacles is the apex of financial stability and financial abundance. And so to walk away from this, you need a promise, a guarantee of something much more amazing, much more passionate, much more thrilling in order for you to feel safe and secure enough to take this leap. And I feel like the universe is telling you there is something here. There is harmony. There is, another, like there is a person that is going to be walking alongside you. And so I feel like you needed some reassurance, okay? And you needed to know the answers, okay? So it's like that boy. I'm drawn to the fact that he keeps thinking like, what if it's infected, okay? Because he's had that Band-Aid on for so long. He doesn't know what's underneath. It's sealed. It's stuck to his skin all around the perimeter of that wound. He doesn't know if it's infected. He doesn't know if anything got in. And so one of his worst fear, it's not so much the pain, but like, what if he rips it open and then it's infected, right? And to find out that that it's not healed, but it's like something that it's like the worst case scenario. What if it's defective? What if it's damaged goods? What if, it's outside of my control? Okay, what if I lose control in this situation? So I feel like for many of you, the major obstacle between making this decision, you making this decision, is definitely that sense of unknown, that sense of what if things go awry? What if things didn't pan out? What if, I'm stuck in this situation where I'm going to get hurt, more hurt? And so there's a lot riding here, but I definitely feel that the majority of it is this financial weight that is, I'm feeling it really, really heavily on your heart chakra. It's something you're very concerned about, and it's smack dab in the middle of this spread, weighing very heavily on you. You want this newness. You definitely do. You are realizing that status quo, whatever is